Hey y'all. All right, let me share this out. Sorry, I thought you guys could hear me. So they got me for a policy violation. They got me for harmful and what did it say? Inappropriate content, harmful and dangerous content. What? And yes, Penelope, that was my voice on there. So yes. Right, exactly. So we're just gonna take it old school. We're gonna do just podcast. We'll do true crime podcast type thing and talk about the case. So that's what we'll do. We'll just do it like that. Um I know, right, Creole? We're over here trying to mind our business and we can't even do that. I would assume so, love, because there was nothing harmful or dangerous about the content. So I don't understand. I don't think YouTube would have done that. Oh, I'm definitely going to appeal it. 110% I'll appeal it. But what I'm saying is I don't think YouTube would have seen that as harmful content or whatever. So, I don't see that. All right, so let's just since we're just starting, let's start over. I don't know, Lindsay. I don't know. I know, right? No, it's okay. It's okay. All right. So let's just start over. We'll just do a quick rundown. Okay. Let me do something real quick before I do this. Let me send myself something real quick just so I can have a picture up there. Um, Let me send myself a couple pictures just so I'll have a picture or two up there. There we go. Okay. All right. We're just gonna have to take it podcast, baby. Podcast type. That's all we're gonna do. All right. Thank you guys so much for the support. I still haven't sent the message out because I totally forgot, but I will in just a second. I haven't sent the text message out. Let me send this text out real quick. All right. Thank you guys so much. If you haven't signed up for the text alert, let me put it on the bottom of the screen here. If you've already signed up through text alerts through me, then you don't have to worry about that. This is just for newbies that are coming in that may not have the text alert. So if you haven't signed up for that, you can do that by texting at True Crimes with a Z. It's scrolling across the bottom to 81010. That way you'll get all of the notifications for True Crime Tuesday and any kind of true crime that we're doing. All right, there we go. Now I sent the text out. All right. Where's our bouncer? I'm not sure. Right, Mary. But my picture is in the corner right there. It says True Crime Tuesday with your host. It's right there in the corner, and I'm in the bottom corner too. Um. Oh, I'm not worried about that. Not worried about anything else anybody else is doing. You know what I mean? All right. So, this is the case of a Gene Thurno II. As you saw in the video, Gene was an air traffic controller. A side note, being an air traffic controller is one of the most stressful jobs that you can have. I did not know this prior to this case, but it is a very stressful job. And not only there were three people out of people that were involved, three people were air traffic controllers. Now, Gene's father was an air traffic controller. He was born to Galen Sr. and Shirley Thurneau in Kansas City, Missouri, July 2nd, 1959. He was one of four kids. He had a sister, Caroline, and two brothers, Donald and James. He grew up in the Midwest. He ended up going to the armed forces before getting a job as an air traffic controller at Columbus Municipal Airport. Now he was married to his first wife, Sherry. They had no kids together, and he considered his puppies his pets. I mean, his kids, right? He loved, you can see there the little Dotson Dachshund, however you want to say it, however you say it, Dotson. I call him Dotson. Some people don't, but he loved his dogs, and those were his kids. His wife Sherry at the time actually had a chronic illness, and he not only was an air traffic controller, he was her primary caregiver. So when she decided after 20 years of marriage that she was going to go back to her ex-husband, it really hurt him, and he couldn't understand it because he had dedicated all of the time besides being an air traffic controller, he dedicated to taking care of his wife and caring for her while she had this terminal illness. So when she decided after 20 years of being with him that she was going to go back and be with her ex-husband, it broke him. So he decided that he was going to put all of his focus into his job, into being an air traffic controller. Now, during this time, he met Bob. Now, of all accounts, Bob was a loner. He kept to himself when they would go out. People in the office, they just assumed that that's just what he liked. That's what Bob did. He was by himself. He didn't want to hang out with us. He was, a little weird, awkward, but Bob and Gene was just that type of guy. He was a good guy. So he would always try to include this man and try to get Bob involved. Now they worked a graveyard shift. So they came in at I think it was like 11 or 12 usually at night, and then they would leave around 7 or 8 in the morning. So if you think about it, this is a job that's 365 days a year, 7 days a week. You always have to be alert. It didn't matter if it was 3 in the morning, you had to be on your P's and Q's because not only, there are thousands of people's lives in your hands. All of the passengers on these planes are in your hands essentially as the air traffic controller. And they bonded not only over work, but this man, because as I said, Gene did not have children of his own. So his animals were his children, and he had puppies at one point. So this man, Bob, that was kind of the loner at work, he ended up wanting to purchase a puppy off of Gene. And Gene was like, yeah, like we worked something out. Him and Gene bonded over the fact, they would pictures, and they bonded over these puppies. Well, when his wife left him, Gene decided that he needed a different scene. He needed to go somewhere and do something and change his life, get into something different. So Gene decided that he would move to Florida, that he would transfer, be an air traffic controller down there. And so that's what he did. He went to Clearwater. I think it was Clearwater airport, and he was an air traffic controller there. Now, shortly thereafter, actually only 3 short months after receiving a letter from this guy at the office, Bob, he received a letter and it said, "Look what you left behind." And it was a picture of Gene's apartment back in Nebraska. Now, he didn't think anything really of it. He just thought, oh, it's just a funny joke from a coworker, like, hey, look what you left behind, because it was cold there and he was in Florida. So he didn't think much of it, right? Well, 3 months after moving there, all of a sudden one night he's there in the morning. It's like around 6:30 in the morning, and he's getting ready to get off shift, and all of a sudden it's like really quiet in there, and Bob walks in. And he's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, I transferred here." Now, you heard from Gene's brother. He said, that's not something that would have been an easy task, you know, that him being able to transfer down there, um, what is it? Focus on one thing, LOL. Oh, it's okay. Bye. All right. So, uh, Gene was kinda surprised by this, but, you know, he didn't really understand. Now, Gene and now his girlfriend at the time, JJ, he ended up meeting a woman that was also an air traffic controller, JJ. She's the lady that you guys saw on the video. He ended up meeting her, and they hit it off, but they were kinda keeping things on the down low for a little while, um, because, you know, they worked together and things like that. So they were building a house, and when Bob came down there, he really didn't have anywhere to live. So he helped him out and let him stay in a rental that he had, you know, just trying to be the nice guy that he always was, right? Hey Tina. So he was just trying to be, you know, the nice guy that he always was. And I think that's what got him in trouble a lot of times, especially with this guy. He ended up showing up at work and he had the exact same truck as Gene. You know, now they've got the same truck, they've got the same dog. He transferred down there to be with him, you know, be near him, it looked like. So him and JJ, which was the girlfriend he met when he got there, you know, they were moving on with their life. They were thinking about, you know, having children and going through the IVF process. And it was something that he had never thought of because his first marriage, his wife was, you know, she was terminally ill. So that wasn't something that was on the table. Um, no, Jean had the disabled wife, Penelope. So this is Jean is the disabled. Bob was the loner. He didn't have a wife. He didn't have none of that. Mm-mm. Think about like single white female, except with two men, right? With two men. Okay. And I mean, this story is just, I wish they would not report so I could play the video. Um, but it was kind of like single white female. Okay. So JJ and Jean decide this is a picture of them that you're looking at. This is JJ and Jean. They decide that they're going to get married. Now, their wedding was just for family. It wasn't for everybody else. So they didn't invite Bob. Bob seemed to get upset about that and they kind of noticed that, but again, they were living in bliss. They had met, you know, got married shortly after. They're just living life, right? And they decide tells them like, "Hey, I have a, you know, a housewarming gift," because at this point they had gotten married, they got their house they had built together. So he said, I want to come over for dinner. I have a housewarming gift." Right? It was a crazy story all the way around, right? He says, "I don't have a housewarming gift." So they're like, "Okay." And now JJ, the one in the picture, the lady that you saw in the video, she was kind of uneasy about it, right? And but she said, "Okay, you know, let's go ahead, you know, we'll have dinner." So he comes over for dinner and he gives them the gift. He says he has two gifts, right? And he says the one is for both of them. And he decides to give them the gift. The when they open the gift, it is pictures. It's a photo album of their house that they're sitting in. Remember, they built it together. So it's pictures of different stages of the construction process from like literally from day one all the way to the end. And then they realize, oh no, you've been watching us, you've been taking pictures, you've been doing this, you've been, you know, what have you been doing? So it kind of got in a Lita was still in the other chat when I realized. Hold on a second. Oh, nobody needs a mod, you guys. If you just ignore them, just don't give them what they want. I could care less. I couldn't care less what anyone in here is saying. Y'all just have to ignore them. They're trying to get you guys distracted from what we're doing, and they're winning because you guys are more worried about getting Lita than the story. Just ignore them. Who cares? And please don't give away spoilers, please. Who's in the chat? I don't even see anybody. What do y'all need Lita for? Yeah, let them watch. Right, Penelope? Yeah, I don't even see anybody. All right. All right. So he gives the gift. It's a photo album. It's for all the stages of construction, literally from the day one until the house was built. So they realize in that moment that he has been stalking them, that he's been taking pictures, he's been following them, he's been doing all of this. It gets intense. JJ's daughter comes over. JJ leaves to go with her daughter, basically to give them time to talk man to man, right? And thank you so much for that super sticker. So she leaves to give them time to talk man to man. Now, you saw in that first clip where she says, I came home and I saw a letter laying on the back of the couch and a casing by the Christmas tree, and the men were gone. So they ended up not being able to find the men. They put out a missing persons alert, and Bob's brother actually let the police know that he had another home that nobody knew about except for his family or whatever. He had a separate home about, I believe, 30 or 40 minutes away. Um, and that's where they went to the home, I think 39 hours later after the incident, and they found both of them there. And in the contents of the letter, he basically, which they have speculated that he gave the letter to Gene once his wife left. And the letter said how much he loved him. He was confessing his love for him, and he was saying that he would not leave the house until Gene would have sex with him. And it said, quote, he wanted to taste his manhood. Yeah. Taste his manhood. And so it's speculated that maybe Gene did not take that the best way, and he was kidnapped, he was shot, kidnapped, taken into the car, and Bob took him to the residence, and that is where he chopped off his eggplant, his genitals, and then he ended up turning the weapon on himself. So when police arrived at the residence, they were both men were found there, passed away. So when these interviews were done, she had tried to keep all of that from Gene's family about the mutilation and things like that. And she said, she didn't want to tell his family that, or to, in his name, people to remember him that way. But yeah, she still has the letter. So it was a 3-page typed letter. And that it ended up being that way. So it just really makes you say, who do you know your coworkers? Because this man, apparently, his brother said that he was openly gay. Um, the coworkers and the people that knew him from work said um, that he wasn't. And even in the letter, it basically said, you are. Let me see if I can upload this. Hold on. See if I can do this real quick to see if we can at least watch the part about the letter. Because this story, I'm telling you, I wish they wouldn't keep reporting. But when you see this letter, it's like, wow. This man really just obsessed and, stalked them and watched everything that they did and just basically fell in love with Gene. And, uh, I can't imagine, and they had just started their life. They were supposed to start their journey for a child 7 days, before the couple's baby journey was set to begin. He was murdered. So, yeah. It's only 7 days. That's so sad. Ugh. Mm. Alright, let me see if I can upload this part. Yeah, following to Florida, getting the same one. Oh, thank you, Lindsay. That's why you trust no one. Yeah. Yeah, it's awful. Um, Let me upload just, this part and see if we can at least watch this part and they won't report it. Yeah, Rosie, it's awful. Clearwater. Clearwater. They worked at the Clearwater, airport. I'm telling you, today's just one of those days, but I'm glad that y'all are hanging in there with me here. Like I said, I had a whole different one scheduled for today that was there's actually someone that is an outlaw that went to school with someone that committed a crime, committed a red rum, and they had messaged me. So if you're in here, shout out to you. They had messaged me and said, "Hey, I went to school with this girl. She's involved in this true crime." So I had that file and had it completely done. And now it's saying on my computer the file is corrupted. So I'm not sure if I can get that fixed. If not, I'll just have to redo it. And that's why I pushed this one up, which was supposed to be for next week. But and then I ended up getting held up. So I was late. I'm like, oh my goodness, what else can go wrong? And then I get on here and I'm like halfway in it and I get taken down for a policy violation. What? Like, go figure. But you just got to keep trucking along. It's just how things go. Stop trolling us.
Stop trolling me. Stop it. Stop trolling me, you guys.
All right. It's uploading. People are so crazy. It's scary. I don't talk to new people. We hire. Oh, thank you so much, Julie. Thank you so much, Julie, for that super chat. Let's see. People are so scary. I don't talk to new people we hire, not being mean, but because of stuff like this. My husband says whatever I want. We pay extra to have a manager on site. Wow. Gene ignored some red flags. I'm sure he thought it's weird the dude followed him to Florida. Then the car. Yeah. So not he followed it. So he wanted the puppy, which that was like the first thing, right? Which obviously then that wouldn't have been something that necessarily would have popped up and been like, oh, he wants one of my puppies. That's okay. So he wanted a puppy. Then when he goes to Florida, he follows into Florida. Then he gets the truck. Then he seemed to get upset because him and JJ, they didn't really come out. That's why I wish the video would play. Or I wish I could play it because obviously if they're sitting there reporting it and they took it down, they'll probably take down any video if they're reporting that much at this point, which I'm appealing it. So I'm sure I'll get it back. I should get it back. I don't see why I shouldn't. Let's see. There's a video up. Let's see. Let me see if it's still up. I don't know. Mm, okay, 2 minutes. But yeah, so hopefully I'll get an appeal. I appealed it immediately. So if it's up right now, that means it's good. The file is cursed. It may be. It may be. You never know. It may be, it might not be the right time, you know? Do we have a true crime? We do need one, Nicholas. I'm glad you said that. We need a true crime van and a news van. We need 2 different vans. I'm down for that. 100%. That's a good idea. Had anybody I saw Lakita had seen this before, had watched something on this before, and a few people, but I saw a lot of people that had not heard about this. And I think just the mutilation of it, I think that's what is catches people, but all the twists and turns, RN life is scary. He's been attacked in some. Oh yeah, for sure, Mel. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, you get it. Just being an RN period, especially like mental health, anything where you deal with mental health. So like ER, you deal with mental health because a lot of it comes through the ER. So anywhere where you deal, I feel like you deal with mental health, whether that be a facility, whether that be ER, whatever level, paramedic, EMS, whatever that may be. I feel like there's always room for that danger. Oh yeah, it's up. Good. Then that means I won the appeal. So good. See, that's what I don't like though, because they ended up taking it down in the middle of us watching it. And then it said it wasn't a policy violation, which it told me that it was, what did I say? Inappropriate content, harmful, or whatever I said earlier, harmful content. And I appealed it. So I don't get why they have to take it down. Is there a certain way to stream the show without it being tagged? I don't know what you mean. If you use clips, so here's the difference, Penelope. If you use clips with your own stuff, then it's fair use. Like if you noticed the interviews and the things that I'm putting in there, I'm still narrating and adding in pictures and all of that stuff. You get what I'm saying? So you can use like you can use news clips or whatever you want as long, at least on my end, I've not had an issue with YouTube. As long as I add in like my commentary or, where I was adding in different things like talked about his background and where he came from and stuff like that, because I'm adding that stuff in there, I've never had an issue. But oh, thank you, Tina. Thank you. Yeah, a little winging it. I had an impromptu thing. Yeah, for sure. Um, because this case, I just, all right, let's watch this real quick. All right, let me see if I can put it up here. All right, here we go. Okay, okay, Penelope. Yeah, okay, yeah. So as long as that, I've not had any issues with it. But this was different. This was for like they reported it for a policy issue, which was harmful content or whatever. So they took it down, and then once I appealed it, they put it back up. So I guess it's just the number of reports that they get. I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not sure how it works. All right.
Much.
Okay. This is when he came over. Remember I said he came over for dinner and he was going to give them the gift, right? So that's what this is.
I have something for you.
We had heard how he had this perfect housewarming gift for us.
Creepy.
Wow. I mean, wow. What is it?
It was this beautiful photo album depicting various stages of construction with our home. As I thumbed through the photo album and seeing the more completed pages of our home, I then noticed that through the doors, Bob continued to take pictures after we had moved in, because some of these photographs did in fact show our furniture in there, which was very bizarre. It was incredibly creepy.
The photo album, it really crossed the line. It's beyond too much time on your hands, or wanting to be a friend, or doing something for a friend.
It's very thoughtful, Bob.
Yeah, thank you.
That night, I needed to go retrieve the truck, which I lent to my son. So I just go to Jean and I just say, babe, I'm gonna go retrieve the truck.
I'll see you later.
Okay.
This is a perfect opportunity for me to leave, and hopefully thinking that Bob would leave as well.
I'll see you at work tomorrow, okay?
Okay. If you didn't like it? Yeah, Bob.
Yeah, that's a big book. I can't imagine. Yeah, he
As
was.
I pull up to our driveway, I was
Definitely was.
because
You
I
need
did
a
not
teddy
see
bear, right?
Bob's car there. So I was like, oh, finally.
That's terrible.
You notice there was like some red markings on the driveway. I look further, it's under the Christmas tree. It is on the floor. I don't want to think the worst. So it's like, okay, somebody, and it's wet. And it's wet. I don't want to think.
Sorry, y'all.
It's very ironic how your brain works that way in a positive mode. You don't want to think the worst. So it's like, okay, somebody maybe got cut and they were getting medical assistance.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
Jean? Bob?
And then Jean's shirt is on the floor, and I'm thinking, okay, that's a bit odd. I go to dial his phone. I hear this vibration, and it's under the Christmas tree. His phone
Yes,
is in his
yeah.
pocket, and it's in his pants that he was wearing that day. Okay, all right, something's wrong. And I look further, and Jean's shoes are under the Christmas tree. And I even see his underwear under the Christmas tree. And I'm not getting this. I go to call Bob's phone number. My mind is still trying to think, oh, it's still okay, it's still okay, it's still okay.
You have reached the mailbox of Bob Peterson. I'm not here right now. Leave me a message.
And as I'm turning to the right and stuff, and that's when I saw the spent bullet casing in front of the grandfather's closet.